What is up, you guys? So here is my video and my take on the new elemental dragons or incarnate dragons or suppressor dragons or whatever you want to call them. So I think that they're pretty freaking broken, to be honest. I mean, the ability to just take to either dragon or one of the 4 elements from your graveyard, banish them, and then special summon the monster, rather than having them be more specifically light and dark, as with Chaos Dragons, makes it really good. Another thing is that when the big boss dragons are banished, they get a search. They get a search for another big boss dragon. So that in itself is really good too. They're also level 7, and level 7 Exceeds are in fact better than level 8s. You get not only Big Eye, sorry, this is so blurry, but you get this card Drago Sack, I think, and yeah, it can sack the hell out of your opponents. So it's like what it can do is it special summons 2 free tokens at the cost of 1 Exceed material. And with that, you can go into this really cool combo that I learned just from watching people on Dueling Network, where you special summon a couple dragons, and those are all special summons, so you haven't normal summoned yet. And then you take this guy, you take the 2 level 7 boss monsters that you just special summoned, go into this guy, you summon 2 tokens, you sacrifice the 2 tokens to normal summon Light and Darkness Dragon. And Light and Darkness Dragon is an extremely good card. Its biggest flaw being that you can't special summon it, as far as I know. I mean, that's what I remember. Yeah, this card cannot be special summoned. Sorry, here it is. So, this card cannot be special summoned, and blah 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 blah. But the most important thing is that it negates anything. If an effect, spell, trap, or effect monster's effect is activated, it's automatically negated by Light and Darkness Dragon. Light and Darkness Dragon then loses 500, but you probably know all this already. I mean, so you probably know that this is a really busted play, what you can do. And then you can attack your opponent directly for like 54 if they have nothing on the field, and then they might waste some traps, you'll just negate them. They can play Gorse, it's wasted by Light and Darkness Dragon. Correct me if I'm wrong, someone in the comments, but I'm pretty sure L&D can negate Gorse. Because I was playing today, and I went second. He just drew his card and ended. I went second. I went into a Drago Sack L&D, and he just quit. So obviously he didn't have Gorse, because Gorse wouldn't have been out there, and he probably would have had Gorse, seeing as he just ended his turn with 6 cards in hand. But I don't know. So one card that's also really good with this deck, it's called Busy. It's called 7-Star Sword, and it's not only draw power but search power too. So banish 1 level 7 monster that is either in your hand or face up on your field. Draw 2 cards. You can only activate 1 per turn, just like with Duality. So what this card does is you basically banish to level 7, which, as you know, the boss monsters, when they're banished, search for another boss monster. It has to be the same attribute. So if you were to discard the fire guy, this guy here, he would just search for another one here. So basically you're drawing 2 cards and replacing this guy with the same exact guy. So it's Pot of Greed. So there you go. I also threw in just an upstart just because I didn't know what to put as the 40th card. I like to get rid of back row, so I put in MSTs. And then another really broken spell in this deck, which I have 3 of, is Gold Sark, because once again you get the banishing thing, and so it's a +1 in the long run, because you banish your dragon, get another dragon immediately, not only to get like some sort of immediate gratification, but in 2 turns you get the card, whatever card you search for, and of course you can search for anything in your deck. So yeah, those are my spells, along with Reborn, Heavy, Dark Holes are standard. I don't run any traps, so I run 2 Trags and a Gorse. And the deck's pretty simple otherwise. You run 3 copies of each of the 4 elemental dragons for a total of 12. And then there's these little guys. Let me mention the little dragons. You can discard this card, 1 other dragon type, or the corresponding element, And then you can get an instant special summon from your deck. So you sacrifice 2, you get an instant special summon. Then you have graveyard fodder for later, because you can use those 2 that you just discarded to special summon any level 7 dragon, because they just require 2 monsters that are their attribute and or dragon. And it's like every monster, it's like the 2 monsters that you discard to special summon the dragon are both dragons. So now you're going to get a free special summon off that. So even though you're going -1 to get that monster out, it's not going to hurt you in the long run. So, and finally, since this deck is so oriented towards dragons, you have to have a Red Eyes Darkness Metal. I mean, you can just banish something, bring him out, you can do the token trick with him, and then he can just special summon one of your guys from your grave. And then there's just one more tech card I'm going to mention, Necroface. Be very glad that it's limited to 1 if you're playing against this deck, because not only does it'll bring back all of your used cards. It's like a Pot of Avarice kind of thing, without the drawing 2 cards. But since you're removing so much, I mean, this is like Avarice in a way to recycle all your stuff. But when this card is removed from play, which you can do with Gold Sark, you can, or both players are required to remove the top 5 cards of their deck. So with 12 dragons in your graveyard that can search when they're banished, and 5 cards that you're banishing, there's a good chance that you're going to get at least 1 dragon out of it. So, and then the Gold Sark and Necroface will be good long term, because in 2 turns you get it, and then you can use it to recycle. So what hurts this deck exactly? I mean, it seems so damn good. I mean, macro can really screw over this deck. I run 3 MSTs just to be safe on that, because, you know, macro will really hurt. And, you know, it's really hard to say what else. This is a really good deck. I mean, there's... Ah, shoot, something's coming up the stairs. But I don't know what else to say, so I think I'm going to end this video. My roommate's coming in. Okay. Well, see you guys.